So I recently went through something no man should ever have to put into words. My home was targeted by a biker gang. And the reason? They thought sending in muscle would scare me off my land. Funny thing is, the only thing they actually ran into was someone trained to end wars, not start them. Let me start from the beginning. The first sign of trouble wasn't the letter. It was the motion light over my barn door. It flicked on at 3:14 a.m. and stayed on. Not a flicker, not a raccoon, not a cat, just a full floodlight pinned on something or someone. I didn't panic, didn't even stand up right away. Old habits. Never move before you see. I watched from the corner of my living room, monitor glowing, cold coffee still on the stove. At first it looked like nothing, but I've tracked too many men who thought they were invisible to make that mistake. Two figures walking slow along the outer fence line. They moved like they knew how not to be seen, but didn't realize they were already caught. One had a subtle limp in the right leg. The other was scanning with a red-lensed flashlight. Short sweeps, low beam. Not civilian. That's recon technique. Textbook. Exactly what I used to do. It didn't break in. Didn't even touch the gate. One of them just walked up to the well cap, tapped it twice, then left. Top. Top. Like a message. The next morning, I found a charm nailed to my barn door. Jet black carved bone. A skull, barbed wire through the jaw. Military hash marks down the side. Not truck stop junk. A marker. Below it, half buried in gravel, boot tracks. Wider than average. Deep. Not local. I tracked them 60 yards before they vanished into the scrub behind the hill. 4 hours later, Marla showed up. No call. No knock. Just waltzed halfway up my private drive with her designer dog and that crocodile smile. She wore a pastel windbreaker like it was body armor. Beautiful day, she said, like she wasn't standing a full mile off her own property. Still private land, I replied. I just needed fresh air, she said. Try Whole Foods is work land. She fake laughed. Some of us on the board noticed equipment that doesn't comply with HOA standards. You mean the hay board that's been in the same spot for 8 years? Community aesthetics are important. I pointed to a goat taking an impressively precise dump on a rock. Aesthetic this. Her lips tightened. I would hate for this to become confrontational. You're already here with a leash on my gravel. It's not personal, she said. Everything with you is personal. You try to find me for using a chainsaw at noon. She glanced past me toward the barn. Paused too long. Just remember, she said, we're a community. Communities work when everyone cooperates. She turned and left. That afternoon, I got a violation notice in the mail. Standard boilerplate, except it had a second page. Footer read, Notice 1 of 3 before legal enforcement action. Signed, Marla Hargrove, President, Oak Hollow Homeowners Association, Acting Director of Security Enforcement. That title stuck with me. I didn't remember electing a single one of those roles. That night, I unlocked the box. Not just any box. The box sat beneath a false panel in my workshop, behind 3 rusted bins and a lock I hadn't touched in years. Inside, a sat phone, encrypted flash drive, a folder labeled Granite Signal, and a toolkit built for things most folks shouldn't access. I wasn't hunting. Not yet. But if they came back, I wasn't going to wait empty-handed. Then the barn light tripped again. Same one. This time it flickered once, then died. Power cut. 2 minutes later, backup feed bust. Someone on the east trail. Moving fast. Then still. I zoomed. Same figure. Same limp. But this time, looking directly at the lens. Just standing. Not smiling. Not masked. Just watching. Then turned and disappeared into the trees. The next morning, I found the sign flipped. The one that says, trespassers will be buried where they fall. Not removed. Reversed. Carefully. Silently. Whoever did it wanted me to see it, but not hear it. That's not intimidation. That's communication. Chess move. I checked wires. Changed batteries. Reset alarms. Didn't sleep. Didn't rage. I mapped. I planned. Because what Marla didn't know was I've faced enemies with real firepower, and they didn't send poodles first. But the thing that stuck wasn't the charm or the man with the limp. It was the tap on the well. I hadn't used that well in 7 years. Nobody knew it was still connected. Somebody did. They weren't testing me. They were marking the spot. They came in 6. Matte black bikes. Clean. Quiet. They didn't roar. They glided. Like routine. First pass. 10:13 a.m. Not slow. Not fast. No music. No wubbing. Precision. Second pass. Sunset. One peeled off. Just enough to touch the gravel with his front tire. 3 seconds. Then rolled back. Left his footprint. Next morning, my mailbox bent. Not crushed. Just angled. Whispering. We were here. Chose not to knock. Trail cams offline. Not fried. One cord detached with surgical precision. Another lens unscrewed. Placed neatly on a fence post. Not destruction. Message. Found my goat. No blood. No that I've marks. Just a broken neck and a leather strap tied around her rear leg. Fast. Silent. A relocation not I used in Kandahar. Not YouTube. Someone had studied me. Or worked with me. That night, I packed a bag. Not for the sheriff. Not for permission. Surgical pack. Scope. Burner. Encrypted drive. Suppressed Glock. One map. One coin I only carried on ops. They let me to a bar with no name. No lights. Just buzzing me on. 9:48 p.m., bikes arrived. Same 6. 10:06, Marla stepped out. Hoodie. HOA Property Integrity Division. Laughed. Clinked bottles. Pointed at a map. My land. She didn't look scared. She looked like she'd earned a bonus. Inside, chatter. He's stubborn. Push again. Marla's nervous. Marla doesn't matter. Buyer wants him sweating, not bleeding. Yet, Jake Travers entered. Ex-military. Scar across his knuckles. Same guy I once pulled out of a failed op in Libya. He didn't see me, but someone else did. I left before the scan turned into a signal. Back home. Barn door ajar. Inside, crow upside down. Neck twisted. Spent 7.62 millimeters casing beneath. 3 words carved into stall. Still watching soldier. Next morning, call from Marla. Mr. Sutter, she said sweetly, we noticed you missed your Q2 property upkeep form. You think I'm playing forms with you right now? I think you're unstable. You were at the bar with them. Supporting local business is important. You're burning your bridges. Maybe you're not a good fit for this neighborhood. That was a threat dressed as concern. Later that week, I spotted Mike, same guy from the bar, working at a gas station 2 towns over. Reinforced my garage that night. Saw it. Smudge on the inside window. Left index. A print I hadn't seen in years. Ran it. It hit. Jake Travers. Not just an old teammate. A brother. From missions that didn't exist. Last I heard, Jake was disavowed. Now he was circling my land. He left a print inside. So I sent him a message. A photo of us in Baghdad. Scrawled note. You owe me more than silence. An 8.308 round. 3:12 a.m., my laptop pinged. Audio file. No sender. Jake's voice. You always said we'd be ghosts when it ended. But you built a fence, Sutter. Now you're a mark. Walk away. Then silence. In my barn. Under the haylift. A drive labeled ECHO Phase 2. Drone footage. Heat maps. Me. Crosshairs on my back. Next HOA meeting. Lemonade. Fake smiles. We all feel stress, Marla said. Funny, I replied. Because someone has 64 hours of drone footage showing me as the threat. Karen blinked. Mr. Sutter, this is a safe space. I held up the photo. Taken 3 nights ago. Military optics. Jake Travers isn't sloppy, she snapped. Silence. I didn't say he made a mistake. I said he was here. Too late. She remembered something she wasn't supposed to. Perhaps we can suggest relocation options, she said. If I leave, I said, it'll be through your firewall. I walked out. Calm. Because I had her. And the next move was mine.